How's everyone doing today? This is Zach Allen, and we've got an interesting swing analysis here from behind. We've got Charles Howell on the left with the pink sweater, and we've got Sergio Garcia with the driver on the right. And normally we look at things from the face-on view or the down-the-line view, but I think this is really interesting. And what we're going to be talking about today is just how to generate more power. Okay, and a big thing we're going to talk about is the takeaway. Believe it or not, we're not talking about wrist cock or one-piece takeaway or different things like that. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but I want to talk about weight pressure and how players that hit it the farthest, they put more weight pressure into the ground very early on in their backswing. And specifically what we're talking about is how weight pressure loads into your right foot as you initiate your backswing. And you can see pretty clearly here with both these guys, if you look at the green square around their heads, you see two things happening with their head movement very early on. But it's moving to the right slightly and it's moving downward. Okay, so that's pretty significant because that's what both these gentlemen are doing here. If they were on pressure plates or force plates, you would see a lot more weight going into their right foot, probably in the area of 200 to 225 pounds going into their right foot early on in their takeaway, even though they both probably weigh somewhere 150 to 160 pounds. Okay, so that's really a big thing. We notice golfers that don't hit the ball as far, they're not putting as much weight pressure into their right leg and into their right foot early on in the beginning of their takeaway. So that's one thing to remember here is you really want to feel some load into your right foot. We're turning into our right foot. Weight is moving into our right foot. Our right knee is staying steady. Our right leg is not moving. But there's definitely a lot of load into that back leg. And the reason for that is it really sets up what we're going to see in the downswing here. As these guys start to change directions and move the other way, you're going to see a very significant movement into their left side. And people always talk about moving your hips, but what I want you to do is focus on their feet. If you watch both these guys as they get to the top of their backswing, they have their left heel slightly off the ground, and they're going to really, with authority, plant it and push it down and into the ground. Okay, so loading your right foot in your takeaway is going to really give you the dynamics to allow you to change directions and move the weight back into your left foot in that very first move down. And so right here you notice the weight moving into the ball of their left foot as they initiate their downswing. Okay, both hips are moving laterally too, but it's really led by the foot. They've got their heels up in the air here. You even watch Charles Howell, he even replants his foot into a little different configuration here to really make sure that he's moving into the ball of his left foot. So in that moment there, like we said, if they both started at 150 pounds, you'd probably see something in the area of 250 pounds to 300 being put into the ground in that moment, in that very first start of the downswing. And like we said, both these guys, they're not really big. They don't weigh a lot, but both hit the ball miles, pretty close to 300 yards. Both hit the irons very far. They both have a tremendous amount of lag. That's the angle formed between their left arm and the club shaft that you see there. But I think if you really study why this happens, why you get guys that are not real big but can both hit the ball pretty far, it's because of how they use that weight pressure in their feet. So if you feel like you've got a little power leak in your golf swing, next time you go out, really focus on your feet. Focus on early on in the takeaway, weight pressure loading into your right foot. Okay, as you start back downward and into your right foot, as it gets to the top, it's moving around and into your right heel, and as you start to change directions, you can really see it going into the toe of your left foot and down into the ground. Okay, that really causes a lot of, it's called kinematic sequencing. Okay, basically it's just going to allow you to swing the club more like a whip, but it all comes from your feet. Okay, it all initiates in your feet. So that's a great way to really feel yourself swinging the club properly. Some people call it swinging from your feet. A lot of great players talk about how they use their feet to hit the ball. They even feel like sometimes they can draw and fade the ball by what they feel in their feet. Pretty amazing. And you can see that just carries them right through to a good full finish there. I hope that helps, and give that a shot. I'll talk to you guys later.